I can't find my remote. I have no idea where it is.
Matt Scranton is telling me that I have fabulous hair. Thank you, Matt.
She does. It's lovely. I only get to play with it once in a while, though.
Right after I wash it.
Yeah, but the problem is, you complain that my fingers make it greasy, so if she just washed it, I can't touch it. Look, there's a little wire in front of the screen. Let's fix that.
That's great. You're
That's
an amateur.
something. That's
you take
something,
a week off and look
look
what's happening.
This is something I wouldn't notice until later, and I'd be sitting in the office going, there we go. Hi. Okay.
You hit the camera.
It's okay.
Oh my God.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I think we should move to a format like a morning show where I wear a suit, you wear a nice little dress, we sit in some white couches with a sort of a fake backdrop of New York City behind us.
Sunrise.
And the sun. Good morning, Littleton.
Good morning, Littleton.
Right?
Hey, we had a bear in a tree.
We had a bear in a tree. Yeah, he was looking for a picnic basket. That's what I heard.
Hey, boo-boo.
Hey, boo-boo, a picnic basket. Okay, good morning, everyone. It's Friday Live. That means it's Friday, and we're live.
And we're live.
And last week we missed the show. We were at Nerdtacular, hanging out with our friends. It was a really good time.
Most of it was a good time.
What's this hesitation?
Because I was sick in a hotel room for
pessimistic.
I was vomiting for like 10 hours straight.
Your stomach is half empty.
Yeah, it was.
You get it? Okay. So yeah, we were out of town. Nicole got sick, and we brought the kids to a big nerd conference, which was definitely a different experience.
Got exposed to some new games.
Oh yeah, some real cool games.
Really cool games.
That role player game was really fun.
Yeah, you got to play like a 8-player battleship game.
Oh, dude! So those of you who follow the Wood Whisperer for a while, maybe on Facebook, and closer interactions than just our main content, might have heard of John Funk. And
yeah, you finally got to meet John.
I got to meet John Funk. He's been working with us. He's kind of like the third leg of this stool that is the Wood Whisperer in designing graphics for us. He's the guy who makes our websites collaboratively, and he's just a genius. And he and I have been working together for about a decade and have never met in person. So this was the first time we got to shake hands, embrace. And we played games as much as my schedule would allow me.
You can show a picture of
No one's going to see that.
You can't just bring it up.
Nope. I could put it in the recorded version for people.
Oh, you can't see that?
Yeah. So John and his wife Juliana were absolutely awesome. It was so fun hanging out with those guys.
Yeah, I wish we could have hung out more, but we had kids with us, and it was either take the kids and go, or don't take the kids and not go.
And those two give Canadians a good name.
Yes,
I must say.
They're very, very awesome people.
Okay, so a couple quick announcements. First of all, Patreon is where you can help support the show if you'd like to. That's patreon.com/woodwhisperer. We have a new bandsaw setup video with Alex Snodgrass that just came out yesterday. So if you want to check that out, learn how to set up your bandsaw the right way, unlike the way I showed you in episode 13. Now, there's more than one way to do it.
Why don't you do it the way Alex Snodgrass does it?
That's my favorite question. I said, you know what? Well, screw that guy. I'm going to get him on the show and have him do it. But yeah, seriously, he's got a method that's a little bit easier. It doesn't take as much work, but you get better results, so you can't beat that deal. So check that out. Let's see, taps. Quick announcement. I don't want to make a real big deal about this because we still don't know exactly when everyone's orders will go out, but we do have all sizes on hand, which means...
I'm seeing posts.
Yeah.
People getting them.
They're arriving. So both metric and imperial sets will start shipping. Don't email us asking exactly when you're going to get yours. My mom is busting her butt with her little crew over there trying to get these things out, and we are a very small organization. So
teeny tiny.
If a few weeks go by and you still don't have yours, that's when you can email us. But doing it right now is just going to slow down the process.
If you don't have your order by the end of the month, then reach out to us.
Definitely. Okay, so look forward to those if you did order them. And here's the thing, we will not be selling the taps again until all pre-orders have shipped.
Yes.
Right, because that's something that's really kind of crappy, right? You're still waiting for yours and you can see people can buy them. Okay, so giveaway, Nicole, let's get to that and then we'll do questions.
Oh yeah, I don't know why I'm really coffee right now.
Coffee?
Coffee.
Coughing or coffee?
Okay. Coffee. Anyway, so we have a new giveaway for July. We do have a winner for the Powermatic drum sander from last month.
Yeah.
Yep. So Mark B from Milwaukee.
My cousin's name is Mark B.
Yeah, no.
But not that.
It's not
that
him.
guy. Okay, go ahead.
Him. He did not win that. So congratulations, Mark. But this month we are giving away 5.
Look what happens to be here.
5 Oneida, these new Oneida router hoods, dust-free router hoods. So you did a video on that.
I did a video on that.
Yeah.
So in the guild, we had a live guild meeting this week, and I kind of did just a raw, first-time use of this thing because I just wanted to show people how it works. So this is their universal dust hood. If you've ever been frustrated by the amount of dust you produce with a router, this is a great answer to that problem. I have, for years, been a big fan of Festool's dust collection on their OF 1400. And you'll notice, you see this little arm here that connects to your hose and a little shroud in the middle. It looks very similar to the Oneida system that we have here. The big difference, this Oneida system is universal and should go on just about really any router you guys probably have. I mean, there might be some obscure, I think we should close that door. Hearing a leaf blower.
Well, you talk, I'll close.
There might be some obscure brand or some old model that it won't fit, but most of the ones that you guys probably have in your shops, this thing will fit. And I put it through its paces and it works. It works as good as the Festool does in terms of how much dust collection you get from it. So for 30 bucks, that's an absolute steal to get that kind of extra functionality. In fact, I did bring my 1400 back into the shop because I missed the dust collection, but putting that on my Bosch has given this router a lot more life. I'm going to use it more often because I have this thing. So we are giving away how many?
5 of them.
5 of these things.
5 of them, along with Jet. Jet gave us a scroll saw. So we have 5 of these and 1 Jet scroll saw with the stand and the foot pedal. So we got some cool prizes.
So this Jet scroll saw, that's new, isn't it?
Well, as of, I think
it's relatively new, like this year.
Less than a year.
Okay. Man, what great prizes.
Yes.
We're like right in there. New stuff comes out, Nicole's giving them away, like this. Here you go, people. Okay, so that's it for that. Let's get into some questions, shall we?
I do have one super chat from...
Already?
Derek. Derek says ban Carl Hudson.
That's a good idea. I'm glad that he actually paid a few dollars to get that message to us. You hear that, Carl? People have it out for you.
And Woodaholic, you did a super chat, but there's no question, so I'll take a look at the chat to see if you put your question in there.
Okay, now I've got a few questions here from Patreon. I do pre-select questions from patrons, and I do want to make sure everyone understands how this works because someone gave me flack about this on YouTube and felt like he was insignificant because he doesn't pay to get his questions answered. And I explained to him that, hey, have you ever paid for better tickets at a concert?
Yeah.
Have you ever paid for better parking? All right, it's an upgraded service, but that doesn't mean that we ignore people, because here's the thing. He commented on a 2 or 3 week old video, and he got a response from me. That goes to show you what we do here, right? So we do pre-select questions, but we also take questions live from the chat. I go back and answer questions whenever they come up, even if it's weeks later. So if you want to level the criticism that you don't feel special because because you haven't paid a couple dollars, just think about what's actually happening.
What's happening is I'm getting lots and lots of questions from different places and different sources.
People are paying for the privilege to get your attention faster. But that doesn't mean that you are going to be completely ignored. You don't have to pay anything. We still answer questions from everybody, and I still answer questions weeks later on these videos. So anyway, enough about that stuff. Brody Bricky wrote in. He says, I'm working on basic furniture, trying to get better with hand tools. I have a 4.5 block plane and a number 7. Are there any other planes that I should consider acquiring? Not trying to go full Shannon, just hybrid. You guys don't know Shannon. He's like becoming almost an adjective.
Yeah.
You know?
Shannon Rogers, if you're not
Shannon Rogers from the Renaissance Woodworker, a good friend of mine, co-host on Wood Talk. He's all hand tools and he's a little bit crazy for it. He's also known as the albino gorilla now. Did you know that?
I can't stop coughing.
Brody says, thanks for the fun Fridays. Drink more.
I know.
Okay, so here's the thing. Not to pitch you, but this is my book. It's called Hybrid Woodworking. It's available on Amazon. It's available at Pop Woodworking, but the best place to buy it, of course, is at the Wood Whisperer store, twwstore.com. You get an autographed copy and a free video to come with it. This book lays out my very specifically, I have a chapter on what tools I recommend for the hybrid woodworker. And you'll be surprised that it's actually not a lot of bench planes. What I really recommend for the hybrid woodworker, block plane is certainly in there, but specialty planes. Specialty planes for finessing joinery and curves. I think you get more mileage out of that if you're going to try to be the type of hybrid woodworker that I am, right? I don't need milling planes, things to make my boards flat, because I've already got tools to make my boards flat.
Things to make my boards flat.
I'm trying to be a little bit more colloquial. Is that okay?
It doesn't sound like you at all.
Well, I've been hanging around a Missouri girl for a few years now. I try to make my boards flat, and I drink sweet tea and Kool-Aid. Okay.
Kool-Aid.
So joinery planes are where to go, and I think if you check out my book, you'll see exactly what my logic is behind that and why. Just saying, what other planes do I need to buy? I think you have all the planes you need if you're trying to do the type of woodworking that I sort of push out to people. So there you go. Check out the book. If you have any more questions, email me and we'll talk about it. Mark Nyland and Bill Berg both wrote in with questions about cherry. So we'll kind of answer both at the same time. Mark says, good morning. I'm building some cabinets with cherry face frames and doors. Is there any gotchas with finishing cherry? Let's see, I prefer water-based finishes due to the lack of a smell, generally shorter curing times. I can and will use other finishes if there are significant benefits to be obtained. And Bill says, I know that cherry has a tendency for blotchiness. Let's see, I could use shellac first to seal. Does that carry over to cherry veneered plywood? So he's asking, does the factory-made stuff still blotch? So here's the thing with cherry and blotching. It happens, and if you ask some experienced woodworkers around the world. What's his name? Oh, crap. 360 Woodworking. He's a good friend. I just can't remember his name. I'm spacing on his name. Chat room will let us know.
Yeah, come on.
I can't believe
Come on, chat room.
It's live, it's early, and I'm sorry. But anyway, experienced woodworkers will say things like, cherry blotches, get over it, right? Which I really respect because it's just what the wood is going to do. At the same time, some cherry blotches more than others, and a lot of people don't like the way it looks. So let me show you a...
Glenn Huey.
Glenn Huey, thank you so much.
That was Matt Scranton.
Glenn is my buddy. I can't believe I forgot his name. I could forget my own mom's name on Friday Live. What is my mom's name? It's Mom. Okay, so this piece is a cherry dining chair. This is the prototype we built.
That looks really nice.
And we've seen it a million times.
I don't know. I think it's darker now.
You know what's darker? Your butt is darker.
You're terrible.
Okay, so so this actually has been finished with water locks. It's an oil-based finish. If there's a finish that's going to blotch, your oil-based finishes are probably going to be the worst, if you will. But you can see it's really not bad. A lot of it depends on the cut of cherry that you have. So the type of finish and the board itself are factors here. There are finishes that blotch less than others. Water-based finishes, like Mark had mentioned, tends to not blotch as much. And the oil-based finishes will blotch a little bit more. But you really need to run some tests because the boards you have, kind of like these, just may not be really blotch prone, and you don't have to worry about it at all. Just coat it with your finish and go. And if you don't mind a little bit of blotch, use whatever finish you want and don't really worry about it. So the question about veneer, yeah, veneer plywood is going to blotch as well. And in some cases, it might even blotch worse. But again, you have to test it to know for sure. So a seal coat of shellac is probably a good idea, something that dries quickly, like water-based finish, dries quickly and doesn't absorb very deep. That's a good candidate for a sealer before moving on to some other type of finish. All right.
Mark wanted to know how old the chair is. It could have darkened with age.
Well, it's only about a month old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it hasn't had that much time. Yeah, it will darken with age compared to these boards, for instance, with no finish. And they've just kind of, these are freshly milled. Well, these are much lighter. That's how cherry works. So
I'm going to call out TJ Woodworking Shop. Thank you so much for being in the chat room. You don't have to do the thumbs up thing in the chat because this is a live video that's just going to go away. But I really appreciate.
We appreciate your enthusiasm.
Yes.
But when you spam the chat, it kind of just annoys people.
And it pushes everything up, and I get discombobulated. So.
But we do appreciate it.
Yes,
thank you
very much. But it doesn't help on the live videos, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, even if you did it on the other videos, it would still annoy people. No one likes spam, even if it's good spam. Is there any good spam? And I'm talking about the food now. The Hawaiians would disagree with me on that.
I was going to say, my mom used to have spam.
Yeah, but it's like.
I think it's a generational thing.
It's like thick, juicy bacon puree. I mean, it's got that flavor, right?
Yeah, right.
But it's still kind of crappy, and you know how bad it is for you.
You're
so
insulting
it's like
some people right now because there are people out there that really love spam.
Okay. There are people out there who really love Shannon Rogers, but I'm not faulting them for that. People love Cremona.
Yeah.
What's wrong with them? Anyway.
So, did you ever have like the little can of Beanie Weenies?
Yeah.
What are Vienna sausages?
Well, Beanie Weenie is a whole different thing.
Not Beanie Weenies. I just couldn't remember the name.
You know what? Vienna sausage look like little pig wieners. That's what they look like to me.
Potted meat.
Little pig penises.
These are all things I grew up on.
That's disgusting, Nicole.
Yeah.
No wonder I like you. Okay, so Stuart Johnson wrote in, building the Moorish chair project taught me several new skills like mortising with a router and bent lamination. What next project will build on those skills? Wow. I think any advanced level project, I mean, once you learn how to route mortises with a router, you've opened up the playbook. This chair, for instance, has all routed mortises. It's loose mortise and tenon joinery. That's a skill that's incredibly handy to have. And bent lamination, well, that's really the next level, right? That's when you could start to think outside of square and straight, and you could take wood and make it conform to whatever shape you want with techniques like bent lamination. So there's so many things you can do. I think the sculpted rocker is probably a good option after that point. Lots of bent lamination, lots of mortising to consider, but really the playbook, pardon me. I'm from New Jersey, I talk with my hands. Just give me about a 1 foot radius. We'll be fine. Something like that is a pretty good project, but I think you're really opening up your skill playbook now, and the possibilities become endless. Okay, Matthew Hall.
I have some super chats too.
I've got only 3 more.
Okay.
I finished a design on a bed that uses 4/4 lock mitered together to make hollow posts. I'll abbreviate his question here. He says he heard us on Wood Talk where all 3 of us had sort of universally laughed and kind of made a joke about lock miter joints, and we dismissed it without explaining it. So he wants to know, did I do something wrong with lock miter joints? Is there a reason why I shouldn't use them? Here's the thing with lock miters, they're great, it's a cool joint, and I think the reason we dismiss them is because we've all had the experience of trying to set up a lock miter bit so that it gives you the right cut. It's a tricky thing to set up, and that's the reason we dismissed it, because there are other ways to get the job done that are probably a little bit easier, but it's sometimes just not worth the trouble of dealing with it. So that's why we kind of had that dismissive tone. Not because it's a bad joint, just because it's one that's fiddly and difficult to set up that we usually will find other ways to do it. Okay, so continue. If you've got it set up, you're 1 step ahead of us. Alex Steinberg. I've been working with a lot of beetle kill pine. While I love the look, and in the first few projects I've done have been unsurprisingly very prone to scratches, gouges, and dents. So he wants to make a desk and wants to know if there's a way to make it more durable. The thing is, you can put certain finishes that will help firm up the fibers a little bit. You could even use like CPES epoxy or that total boat epoxy like I used on the table in the back. That absorbs in deep, the epoxy helps to firm up those fibers, and that can make it a little bit more durable. But it isn't really going to be a magic thing, and even finishes themselves can dent when it comes to writing. If you saw the wiping varnish test that I did recently, every one of those finishes fell victim to the writing test, because writing with like a ballpoint pen on a finish is actually a torture test. There's very few finishes out there that can withstand that sort of abuse. So you could go with something like an epoxy finish that might help. By building finish on top of the wood, you're actually counting on the finish's strength and not the strength of the wood itself. So that will improve the situation, but if you don't want a really thick film finish, you're kind of stuck with doing whatever you can to embed finish in the wood fibers and try to firm them up a little bit, but it will not be perfect. It's just going to make it a little bit better. If you want something that's more resistant, use a harder wood.
Mark Thiem has a quick question. Do you have a favorite joint? Is that not a quick question? To me, that is like a quick question. A wood joint?
I don't know. The Maloof joint.
Is there such a thing?
Here's the thing. There's favorite in the sense of like I use it all the time.
Right.
But then there's favorite in the sense of I have respect for it. I've done it once, but I don't necessarily use it all the time because it's difficult to execute.
Right.
So I think the Maloof joint is one that I think is just cleverly designed. That's the joint, I guess you call it like the hip joint that joins the chair together. I think it's just very elegant. But there's, I think the loose mortise and tenon might be one of my favorite joints in terms of what I use. Okay, last Patreon question. What major investment with a major investment in a new table saw, should I also invest in dust collection? Am I putting my new baby at any risk just by hooking it up to a shop vac? Okay, well, the first question, I had to really read this 3 or 4 times because when he says my new baby, is he talking about a child or is he referring to his table saw as his new baby?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but when he says my new baby by hooking it up, he's got to be referring to the saw, right?
Okay, yeah. When you said baby, I thought baby.
Yeah, a child, right? That was my first question. Okay, so you aren't really going to hurt the saw. Most saws are sealed in such a way that you're not really going to get dust in the components, other than maybe, you know, the turning deals, you know, things that adjust the angle of the blade or the height of the blade, that can get caked with sawdust. So if you have a lot of buildup, you know, that can certainly eventually cause a problem. But you're not really going to hurt the saw long term by exposing it to dust for the most part. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't still get rid of it. I would be much more worried about how you're hurting yourself than how you're hurting the saw. So yes, absolutely, get dust collection. That should be a priority. A shop vac can get the job done. Sometimes you could put a shop vac into a cyclone separator and then put that on the saw and get potentially even better collection just in terms of separation. But usually the shop vac is a high velocity, low diameter hose, which isn't quite as effective as a real dust collector with a 4-inch port. That's a little bit lower. It's a little bit of a lower velocity in terms of the air movement, but it's much more effective at pulling in the fine dust from those big tools. So absolutely look into dust collection. It's good for you. Don't worry about the saw. Worry about your health. Of course, protect yourself with a respirator, one way or the other. Okay, and that's it for the Patreon questions. So let's hit some live ones.
All right. MoParX12 says, have you ever thought of using a CNC router?
Hell no. CNC is great. I've talked about this many times in the past. I value it and its role in the industry. I think it's very cool. It would be nice if I just had nothing but space and time where I could learn how to operate it properly, but the reality is I don't have enough time to play with it, and what I always say is I'm still working on perfecting old school woodworking. And maybe someday when I get bored with that, I'll move to something like CNC. To me, it's always better to know someone that has a CNC than to actually own one and spend the time to learn and operate it myself, at least for me.
Richard Lucas says, do you ever buy wood online, and do you stay local and use limited species that are available? If online, what are some good lumber suppliers?
Bell Forest Products.
Yep.
You'll hear us mention them all the time. They're a great outfit, really good materials, and great customer service.
Super awesome customer service.
And there are tons of other dealers.
Plus, we have a discount code, TWW5 will get you 5% off your order. We also have CR Muterspa. He does lumber online.
CR Muterspa and...
at crlumber.com.
Those guys who sent me to Walnut. Goby?
Goby?
Goby Walnut. They have some great walnut.
Is their name Goby?
G-O-B-Y, yeah.
G-O-B-Y. Lumber?
Yep, something like that. Yeah, look it up.
I'm looking at GobyWalnut.com.
So yeah, there's lots of online vendors. I get most of my stuff local just because it's quick and easy and I get to look at the wood.
Yeah.
But you know, there's so many great sources online, and a lot of times they'll offer free shipping, or their prices are lower than what you can get locally, and then you count the shipping in, and it winds up being a wash. So it's not actually as expensive.
And especially if you can't get that wood in your area.
Exactly.
So, so the Goof Troop's at it again.
Tell them to shut up.
So, Matt Scranton wants to know why I haven't banned Carl yet. Peter says, I'm not sure who Carl is, but let's ban him. And then Benjamin says, ban Carl. He said Journey is awful. Okay. So there you go. Dan Foster said, have you tried Fusion 360?
Nope.
Thoughts versus SketchUp?
From what I understand, the learning curve, and I'm speaking out of my butt, just so you know. The learning curve. From what I understand, the learning curve for something like Fusion 360 might be a little bit steeper. I think it's probably a more powerful program and works really well. I know people who are using Fusion who absolutely adore it. I think SketchUp is probably the low-hanging fruit here. It's the easier thing to attain. It's, SketchUp Make is free. I think Fusion 360 does have a fee. Do they have a free version? It's a good question.
360, I haven't.
But you can do either. You can do whichever one you're more inclined to have success with. I think they both work just fine. We work in SketchUp because, again, it's kind of
universal.
These days, universally accepted by most woodworkers who are looking at my stuff. It's just easier for us. But I hear good things about it. I just haven't had time to investigate myself.
Joshua Turner says, hi, ultimate woodworking couple. I should have my superhero.
Hey-yo.
Love the show. Besides a table saw, what tool would you replace immediately if, God forbid, you lost all of your tools?
Oh, geez.
Probably a table saw.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, but then it's so hard because I like my tools. I want them all.
You just gave him nightmares for the next
Yeah,
time.
I mean, what would I replace first? Everything.
Yeah.
Like, I guess if and the thing is, we do this as a business, I would replace everything, and it would cost a heck of a lot of money, but I would have to do it, right? So my mind says, okay, I'm going to replace all of these tools. If I were in a situation, let's say I were budget constrained, and I had to pick a tool that would do the most for me,
By the way, Jeremy Morgan.
Yeah, probably the table saw.
Yeah. Jeremy Morgan says Fusion 360 is free for non-commercial.
Oh, well then just like SketchUp, because SketchUp is free for non-commercial use. There you go. Well, check them out. Check both of them out. I've heard so many good things about Fusion 360 that it's worth looking into. It's a different program.
Yeah. Okay, so I've been collecting questions over here. Did I mess it up?
I don't know, Nicole. I just work here. By the way, this is a little bandsaw box, tiny guy we're going to be doing on the show with Alex Snodgrass. It'll be a very quick video, but I just want to show the methodology behind making a cute little box like this.
It's so cute. Tom Spillane, what type of replacement blades do you use for your new concept saw?
The new concept saw, yeah.
That thing?
This thing. I'll tell you what, I use this so infrequently.
Yeah.
This was an impulse purchase that I haven't had to replace the blade yet.
Is that a woodpecker purchase?
Oh no.
Okay.
This is new concepts. They're their own thing. So to be honest, I don't really have, I mean, I know I've used Olsen blades for my scroll saw in the past. I think they probably make blades for coping saws and fret saws too, maybe. But I haven't had to replace it yet, so this will probably last me a long time. I don't use a coping saw very often, but this is just badass, so I have it. Did you hear the guy who invented this just passed away?
Oh no.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It is. Dry. I feel like the air is dry in here right now.
It is.
VidKid wants to know, have you ever tried Gorilla Glue for a finish? That doesn't sound right.
I didn't see the video, but I heard that I think it was at This Old House or Ask This Old House, something came up where, and I saw the aftermath of it, where I guess they made a recommendation about using poly glue as a finish, and then everybody was kind of like, that's dumb. Like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I don't know what the benefit would be, why you would want to do it over another finish. It doesn't strike me as a good candidate for a finish, but I don't know enough about it to really comment in an educated way. I haven't seen that video, so I don't know what the justification was. But with so many good finishes out there, I'm not sure why I would want to use a bottle of glue as a finish.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Even to me, it doesn't sound right.
Well, I mean, it's not completely unheard of.
Yeah.
Epoxy is a great adhesive, but also can be formulated for a finish. So what glues do tend to overlap with what a finish might do. But in the case of poly glue, which is not the greatest, I don't like it as an adhesive for woodworking. I'm not sure why I would like it any better as a finish. So maybe it's just it's doing a crappy job as a adhesive, so they want to market it as a finish so they can sell more. I don't know. When in doubt, come up with other things.
Weekend Wood Warrior wants to know, hey, I love the show. When is the next nighttime edition going to be? I loved it.
Nicole knows.
Yeah, it's next Friday.
So a week from today.
The 14th at 8 p.m. Mountain Time.
No morning show that day. No morning
show.
The evening show.
Just the evening show. If you're in Facebook, if you're on the Facebooks.
The Facebooks.
I created an event So you can remind yourself by saying you're attending.
We're going to try to get better about doing the Facebook events. I also want to do some kind of an imported calendar feature for the Wood Whisperer site that just has a calendar of events, and this way you guys can keep up. You know, we do have a Wood Whisperer calendar, and I did this with the Guild too. We've had these for years. You can subscribe on whatever calendar software you use. You can import calendars, and we have an XML link that you can use so that you can have our events on your calendar, right? Yeah. So not like Nicole's doctor appointment and things like that. But
you don't need all that.
Take Mateo to swim class. Would you like that on your? No, but it's actually just we have one for the Wood Whisperer free side, and then we have one for the Guild. So we should probably get more public about those.
Yeah. Jason Williams wants to know, can you advise me on what size bandsaw blade is needed to make the bandsaw box? Thanks, I'm new to woodworking.
Well, if you want to make a bandsaw box, the key to bandsaw boxes is turning, right? So the smaller the blade, the tighter the turn radius. So I think there's really no lower limit because you could, as long as it's set up properly, you can make any turn you want. There is an upper limit though, because if you want to make a really tight turn like this, you can't really have a 3/4 inch blade on there, right? So I'd probably recommend something in the 1/4 inch range would probably be adequate for most, medium to large bandsaw boxes. I don't know, maybe a 3/16 blade, depending on what availability and brand you're buying. 3/16 might not be a bad idea either.
All right, we have Colton. We get this question quite a bit over the years.
Okay.
Hi, Mark. I was wondering how...
I've always been a man.
How...
I don't know why it keeps coming up.
You're terrible. How to get started and making money from my woodworking. Thanks, great show. Keep up the good work. Hello from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And then Tyrion said +1 to Colton's questions. We have seen more and more successful content creators like you, Mark. Is there a path to success in actual fine woodworking versus commercial that you know of? Yeah, I mean, well, yeah.
There is a path to success, but there's a reason why you're seeing so many people do content. That is because it's actually easier to make money from content than it is to make money from woodworking. That's the reason why I do it. And I have an article on why I don't give woodworking business that kind of outlines
advice.
Or why I don't give woodworking.
Why I don't give out business.
I ain't giving you business. You talk to me, I'm going to give you the business. I love that phrase. I should use that more often. I gave Mateo the business this morning.
Yes.
He was acting up. So I don't give business advice because I am a failed woodworking business. The Mark's Wood Creations was a very difficult thing for us.
Yeah, it was hard.
As a family, I just could not sell enough furniture. I couldn't refinish enough furniture to sort of make my portion of the mortgage.
I think what we found when we did the business was it was really important that you knew other woodworkers.
Networking was huge.
Networking was huge.
Because so many times a friend of mine would say, well, I got this offer for a job. This isn't my specialty. Can you take this? And I would. So networking was massive. But once I started making content, I realized that that's a much easier game to play. You're marketing the teaching of this stuff, and you could sell it multiple times. You could build really interesting things because that's what people want to see, versus the other way, which is just hustling. Yeah. Hustling to get...
Build me a dog food pantry.
Yeah.
And I only want to give you $300 for 3 of them.
Yeah. I mean, the market may have changed as people get more and more interested in artisan quality materials and things like that. But ultimately, everybody is a little stingy and they want the lowest price. And they, the mentality that, oh, you can build it for me so it'll be cheaper than if I bought it. No, that's not how it works. So anyway, that's not to say you can't have success, but you are going to have a harder time. And I wish more people would do that. It's content is great, but it changes the game, right? It absolutely changes the paradigm that you'll operate as a business. So it depends on what you really want to do. Anyway, go read the article. If someone could put a link in the show notes or in the chat, that'd be great. Why I don't offer woodworking business advice, which actually, ironically, is offering some business advice in that article. Check that out. And we actually have a category on the Wood Whisperer about business. I looked at it, and I actually have quite a few articles that I've written about running a business. So as much as I say I don't offer advice, I kind of do all the time, but it's very frank advice so you know what to expect.
Yeah, It's a hard business because you need...
It's a hard knock life.
It's a hard knock life. Well, I mean, I know there's a lot of crafters out there. They kind of specialize in one little thing, too, and they kind of find their niche. And the other thing that I think you learned a lot about was when you had it as a hobby, you went at a hobby pace.
Yep.
When you turned it into a business, you had to change your whole thought on how to work.
I was lost for a long time. I would go out into the shop and just be like, well, I can't start that because that's going to take me past lunch. And I can't start that. I mean, the hobbyist mentality is dangerous, you know, if you're looking to actually make money. So what helped me the most was working with another professional. I started to work in a refinishing shop, and it was with Cody that I learned what can actually be accomplished in an 8-hour day, and I don't have enough time to finish that, so I'm not going to start it. That mentality is out the window. You use every minute you have to get the job done, because guess what? You're going to be able to go back tomorrow and start again. The hobbyist says, well, I might not be able to get back for a couple of days, so I don't want to get too involved in that. It's a completely different mindset, a completely different way of thinking. And actually one of the best experiences I had was working in that refinishing shop, teaching me what someone can accomplish in a single day. And it's a lot more than you think.
And if you have the ability to take a business class, seriously.
Yes, because it is not just about building. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of these, attempts fail, is because they might be the best woodworker in the world, but if they don't know how to run a business and market themselves and do things by the book,
accounting,
they're going to get into some serious trouble.
Yep.
Okay,
all right.
So let's wrap it up.
Boom! Wow, we just get a whole bunch of business advice there.
For people who claim to not offer business advice, that was pretty good. Okay,
all right.
So we have to pick a winner.
Yes.
I'm going to pick, you like Brody? You like Mark?
Yeah, let's do Mark.
Let's do Mark Nylands.
All right, Mark.
Mark Nyland. You are the Guild Project winner.
I will contact you.
And I want to thank some folks who helped us out on Patreon, patreon.com/woodwhisper if you want to help us out too. And we'll mention your name at the end of the show, like these folks: Benjamin Achenberg.
Hey, Benjamin!
Larry Wolfgram, Russell Farmer, Scotty Logan, Time Jumper 319. That's a great name. James Smith, Andy McCorkle, Andy Davidson, Mitchell Hrashar, Callum McLean, and who's this other one? John Doyle.
John Doyle.
Yeah, so thank you so much, folks.
Thank you.
Always appreciate your support. You don't have to support us. You could just tell people about the show.
Yeah.
Share it with your friends. We hear a lot about couples who watch the show. At Nerdtacular, I talked to a few people. Darth Marcus was there, and he said that he and his wife, not woodworkers, but they actually love to sit down and watch the show, which is awesome. So if you're watching...
I can't believe I didn't see you at Nerdtacular.
Oh, I saw him, Nicole. I hung out with him for hours. We were talking about stuff.
And things.
It was a good time. But I actually did talk to him for a few minutes.
We got a couple of super chats.
Okay. I thought we were done with the show.
I thought we were too, but Levin Baum.
Lemon balm?
Levin balm?
Lemon balm? Like
no, just lemon balm. Lemon balm.
Lemon flavor lip balm?
No question, just a super chat. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And Derek, how do you say it? Gettings. I'm not gonna ban Carl, so just you don't have to do super chats.
Please ban Carl. I love it.
So
Carl's making us a few extra bucks here.
Yeah, Carl. Of course he's in the... So we also have, if you're not familiar, if you are a patron on Patreon, or if you're a guild member, we have a really cool chat that I hang out in on Discord. So that's where, if you're wondering what I'm looking at, that's what I'm looking at.
The Discord chat has become this it's this weird division in our family. There are those of us who care about the Discord chat and those of us who don't care about the Discord chat. Nicole loves it.
I love it.
I could care less. I have enough chats in my life. Namely the YouTube chat and the Facebook chat.
I like it because I can put GIFs and memes up.
As long as you're having fun, that's really all that matters.
And then they get to see whenever I'm playing World of Warcraft. We both started playing World of Warcraft after going to Nerdtacular. So I'm leveling my paladin up to 110 now. So that's what I'm doing.
It's exciting stuff.
It is exciting. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. And we will catch you next week for an evening show.
8
p.m. with beers in hand.
And I have my book recommendation.
Do you?
Yeah.
You know what I want to do? I want to start actually drinking my beer an hour early.
Okay.
So I could be on maybe my 3rd or 4th beer by the time we do the show to really anger some people.
Oh, that's all right.
I think that'll be good. Anything from the Beer of the Month Club yet? Email them.
Oh yeah, I should email them.
Otherwise, I'm going to be drinking like Bud Light.
What's wrong with Bud Light?
Oh, Nicole. Oh, for shame.
Nothing is wrong.
For shame.
With America's beer.
America's beer is a local brewer, Nicole. Everyone knows that.